Hey you all, this is Brian and you are watching the Dark Age channel.
You know how total self-sufficiency feels like an uphill battle? It turns out there are a myriad of ways our government is putting roadblocks on our path to living independently. From controlling the essentials like water, energy, and even our ability to grow our own food, to more overarching issues like infringing on our freedom of speech and our right to keep and bear arms. Believe it or not, the government's reach extends into areas of our lives you might not even consider when dreaming of that self-reliant lifestyle. This video will dive deep into the specifics, how exactly the government is involved, from housing monopolies that price out the average person to laws that limit your rights in ways you might not expect. And it's not just about identifying these obstacles. We're also going to explore what we can do about it. Can community action or reaching out to elected officials make a difference? Stick around as we break down the barriers to living independently and uncover what power we have to challenge the status quo. Number 9. Monopolizing end-of-life care. We're facing a critical issue that hits home for many of us, especially as we or our loved ones approach the later stages of life: the monopolization of end-of-life care. It's a topic we don't talk about enough, yet it significantly impacts our autonomy and the dignity of our final days. Large healthcare corporations increasingly dominate this sector, often prioritizing profit over compassionate, personalized care. This shift toward a more corporate model can leave individuals and families feeling like they have limited options that don't necessarily align with their wishes or financial capabilities. For those of us keen on living life on our own terms, this trend is particularly alarming. The idea of having choices in how and where we spend our final days is fundamental. Yet the reality is that navigating end-of-life care is becoming more about what you can afford and less about what you want or need. It's about dealing with institutions that may not understand or respect individual desires for a more personal, less institutionalized approach to care. We're at a point where advocating for change and exploring alternative models of end-of-life care is crucial. Whether it's supporting hospice care options that prioritize comfort and dignity, or championing the development of community-based solutions that offer a more personal touch, it's about ensuring that the end of life is treated with the same respect and autonomy as its beginning. Number 8. Attacking home-based food production and water storage. So us preppers will all be steering back to our roots, seeking autonomy in how we live by growing our own food and storing water. This journey towards self-reliance, however, hasn't been without its roadblocks. We're finding ourselves up against a barrage of regulations that challenge the very core of our endeavors in home-based food production and water storage. To us, the right to cultivate our garden, raise chickens in our backyard, or collect rainwater in barrels isn't just about sustainability. It's about securing our independence and ensuring our family's resilience against disruptions. Yet the layers of zoning laws, health ordinances, and building codes can transform these simple acts of self-sufficiency into bureaucratic battles. The argument often presented is public safety and resource conservation, but it's hard not to feel that these regulations disproportionately target the little guy. Us, the small-scale growers and homeowners. The current regulatory landscape often feels like it's stifling our efforts to live more sustainably. We should advocate for a shift in policy, one that better supports and acknowledges the value of home-based food production and water storage. Number 7. Infringing on our Second Amendment rights. In the heart of American values, the Second Amendment stands as a testament to the importance of personal freedom and the right to self-defense. For many, it is a cornerstone of independence, allowing individuals to protect their families, properties, and themselves. This right is particularly vital for those living off the grid or in remote areas, where reliance on oneself is not just a lifestyle choice but a necessity. The Second Amendment is an integral part of our way of life. It's about more than just firearms ownership. It's about upholding a tradition that ensures our ability to live independently, secure in the knowledge that we can defend against any threat if needed. The Second Amendment embodies the spirit of self-reliance that is core to our American values. Any infringement upon the Second Amendment is a threat to our fundamental freedoms. Unfortunately, we need politicians to help us defend our Second Amendment rights. Pro 2A politicians to be specific. Number 6. Engaging in warfare. The impact of warfare on personal independence and societal stability is profound and far-reaching. When a nation engages in conflict, the repercussions ripple through every facet of life. The direct costs of warfare are astronomical, diverting funds that could support education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social services toward military expenditures. This reallocation of resources can lead to economic instability, affecting job markets and individual income opportunities. Moreover, the focus on national security often leads to tightened government controls and surveillance, further encroaching on our personal freedoms and privacy. The societal shift towards a wartime economy can also disrupt local markets and supply chains, making it harder to access resources needed for self-reliant living. In essence, warfare casts a long shadow over the aspiration for a peaceful, autonomous life. What can we do about it? We can vote for politicians who aren't warmongers. So yeah, don't bother re-electing Brandon. Number 5. Limiting freedom of speech. Navigating the tightrope of freedom of speech in today's landscape can feel like walking through a legal and social minefield. It's a cornerstone of American values, yet it's facing challenges from multiple angles. Government policies and laws, under the guise of national security or public decency, sometimes encroach upon this freedom, setting a stage where expressing one's views could have more consequences than intended. Moreover, social media platforms, which have become the modern public square, enforce their own rules and algorithms, potentially silencing voices or limiting the reach of certain perspectives without clear recourse for the affected parties. This isn't just about the ability to speak one's mind. It's about what happens when those voices are stifled. The flow of information is restricted, making it harder for individuals to make informed decisions or to rally around causes they believe in. For those striving to live independently, this can mean obstacles in spreading awareness, sharing knowledge, or even learning from others' experiences. Facing these challenges means we should, again, look for Facebook, Google, and YouTube alternatives, because these platforms are pro-censorship. We can also engage in direct communication to bypass filters, or supporting organizations that fight for speech rights. Number 4. Undermining income. In today's economy, the goal of achieving a stable income feels more like navigating a minefield than walking a clear path. It's not just about finding a job. It's about dealing with forces that seem intent on undermining your ability to earn a living wage. From policies that favor large corporations over small businesses and entrepreneurs, to wage stagnation in the face of rising living costs, many find themselves in a financial squeeze. The shift towards gig and freelance work, while offering flexibility, often comes without the security and benefits of traditional employment. This model, increasingly dominant, can lead to unpredictable earnings and a lack of safety nets, making financial independence an uphill battle. Moreover, automation and outsourcing continue to reshape the job market, sometimes making it feel like the rug could be pulled out from under you at any moment. In response, we can look for alternative income streams and explore ways to reduce our dependence on a single source of income. Online businesses, local cooperatives, things like those. Number 3. Censorship and control of information online. The digital era promised an information revolution, where access to knowledge and diverse viewpoints would be at everyone's fingertips. Yet here we are, navigating a virtual landscape where censorship and control of information have become alarmingly prevalent. It's a reality that impacts not just what we can share, but also what we can see and learn online. This control comes in various forms. Governments, through legal and regulatory frameworks, often dictate what can be posted or accessed, citing national security or public order as justifications. Meanwhile, tech giants wield unprecedented power over the flow of information, with algorithms that filter and prioritize content, sometimes in ways that leave us in the dark about why certain information is promoted over others. This poses a significant threat. Access to unbiased information about self-sufficiency, from DIY solar panel installation to permaculture gardening, becomes harder to find if it's deemed not in line with the prevailing interests of those in control. It'll become tougher for us to educate ourselves and make informed decisions about our lives. Facing this, the question becomes, how do we reclaim our digital spaces? Well, for one, we can stop using Facebook, Google, and heck, even YouTube. We can also encourage the development of open-source platforms and support digital rights advocacy. Number 2, enabling monopolies in housing. In today's housing market, finding a place to call your own can feel like a game rigged against you. Big players such as investment firms and real estate trusts have been snapping up homes, sometimes entire neighborhoods, turning what used to be potential homes for individuals into rental properties. This trend not only drives up the cost of buying a home, but also limits the options for those looking to live independently or off the grid. The reality is, with fewer homes available for purchase, prices skyrocket. This scenario creates a challenging environment for anyone dreaming of having his or her own home, free from the constraints of landlords or corporate housing policies. The idea of owning a piece of land, building your own home, and living according to your own rules seems increasingly out of reach for many. What's more, these monopolies in housing can dictate the terms of living in certain areas, from high rental prices to restrictions on how you can use your property. It's a far cry from the independence many of us yearn for, where we can make our homes truly our own. The challenge, then, is finding ways to navigate, or perhaps even challenge, this landscape. It might involve supporting local housing initiatives, exploring alternative living arrangements like co-ops, or voting for politicians who advocate for policies that encourage more accessible home ownership. Number 1, manipulating energy prices. Let's talk about the complex web of energy prices and how it feels like you're always on the losing end of the stick. Imagine trying to budget for your monthly expenses when the cost of keeping the lights on is as predictable as the weather. It's no secret that energy prices can swing wildly, and sometimes it feels like these changes are anything but natural. Governments and big corporations play a significant role in setting these prices, and often, it seems their decisions are more about profit margins than fair access for everyone. This situation puts a damper on efforts to live independently, especially if you're trying to go off-grid or simply reduce your reliance on mainstream energy sources. Having control of your life includes having control over how much you pay to heat your home or power your appliances. But when energy prices are manipulated, there's no such control. You're left navigating a maze of tariffs, fees, and rates that seem designed to keep you tethered to the grid and to the whims of those who control it. So, what are we to do? It starts with getting informed about how energy markets work, understanding the forces that influence prices, and exploring alternatives that might offer more stability and independence. Solar panels, wind turbines, and other renewable sources are upfront investments that could pay off by providing a buffer against the roller coaster of energy prices.